Hey everyone, Effie here. Today I made this card for Leah Lawson's Layton's Legacy fundraiser and blog hop for NICU Parents event. All of our cards were inspired by this beautiful mood board made by Leah. So I started off by heat embossing our anemone border background stamp onto some watercolor paper, and I'm using my Speedball Baren tool to help me get a nice crisp impression. After I inked up the image with some sticky Versamark embossing ink, I'm just going to spoon on some gold embossing powder over the stamped image and then hit the whole panel with my heat tool, melting all of that beautiful gold powder. For my card, I chose to go with the color palette that Leah chose for her mood board. So for my watercoloring, I chose different tones of grays, minty greens with a hint of gray, and a little bit of warm sunshine yellow. I started off by wetting the entire panel with some clean water first using my paintbrush, and then I dropped in bits of gray into the corners of my anemones. So I dropped in a little bit of gray shading to the inner portions of my anemone petals, and then I washed out my brush and then I blended out some of that gray color so that I get some nice shading to my anemones. However, I'm doing some loose watercoloring today, so I'm not taking too much care about where exactly I shade and exactly how much color I put down. I kind of just drop in color and then I blend the color out. Then I chose a nice bright minty green that was on my palette and I mixed it with a little bit of that same gray that I used for the florals to get this more muted shade of minty green for my leaves. After I dropped in a little bit of that green shade into the leafy or foliage areas, I just started dropping in a little tiny bit of yellow to my stamped image. Anytime after I've put down a layer of color, I'll then take a clean brush, or I'll just clean the brush that I have in my hand, and I'll just clean that brush tip and then I'll blend the color out, and I'll do this continuously until I'm satisfied with the amount of paint on my panel. And I actually move very quickly as I move from layer to layer of color. I'm actually very happy with the color palette for this mood board. It's not one that I would have chosen for myself. I tend to go for brighter colors because I love my florals and I'm always choosing, bright reds or pinks or even blues and purples. But this is not a palette I would have chosen for myself, but I am really, really loving it, and I love the end result of my card today. So after I finished painting my panel, I set it aside to dry completely, and then I took a piece of separate watercolor paper and I just painted on a little bit of the same yellow that I had used for the berries for the larger panel, and I just painted a little strip of that yellow. The amazing is from our Bold Amazing wordplay dies, and the U is from our Scripty Thank You word die. I die cut the amazing wordplay die into my watercolor paper, and for the U, I just die cut the word into some mint cardstock. Then I popped up the amazing onto my watercolored panel, and then I glued the U directly onto the panel. Then lastly, I added some of our clear rhinestones as embellishments. And something that I didn't mention earlier, because the video went too fast, was that I mounted my watercolored panel onto a gray card base, and this kind of ties in the entire card to the mood board and the color palette. And my card is now complete. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Be sure to stop by the blog to start hopping along with the rest of Leah Lawson's amazing fundraising event for NICU parents. And there are some really great sponsors and prizes, including a gift certificate and a stamp of choice to our shop. So head on over to our blog for all the details. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.